Greetings, YouTube. I just finished my last book yesterday. The Language of Names by Justin Kaplan and Anne Bernays. If you're looking for a book that covers the concept of names fairly broadly, touches on a bunch of different topics, doesn't go all that deep into each specific topic, then this book is what you're looking for. It doesn't really break down things too in depth. The chapters aren't particularly long. They're trying to cover a whole lot of aspects about what is names, the very concept of how we identify ourselves with names, naming conventions based on immigration, naming conventions based on that come from the black community, naming conventions for Jewish immigrants, naming conventions dealing with changing your name. Like, why would you change your name? For professional reasons, your personality differences, your life is evolving, the legal ramifications of changing your name. Interestingly, it discusses the difference between a pseudonym and an alias, because technically they're pretty much the same thing. If my name's John Doe and I choose to call myself Bill Smith because I want to write under that name, or I choose to call myself Bill Smith because I don't want people to know that I write under that name, how does it differ? It's the same action, but pseudonym has a much more positive attitude and idea attached to it than alias. Alias always has a certain question about it. Why are you using an alias? There was a chapter that dealt with Emily Post and other etiquette experts that I found it tensely tedious. It was not a fun chapter. It was very dry. I realized that there are proper ways of using names, Mr., Miss, Mrs., and using first names is often considered to be bad etiquette by some people. Another thing I had a problem with is that the book just kind of ended. It didn't have a cohesive wrap-up. I got to the last paragraph of the last chapter, and I turned the page, and I could tell that I was physically near the end of the book, and the notes started. I was looking for an epilogue or a wrap-up or something that would bring all the chapters together under one common denominator topic, but I didn't get it. On a personal note, one of the things about the book that kind of bugged me is that the notes are at the end. I prefer having notes at the bottom of the page, so that if I see a number next to a word, I scan to the bottom of the page and I can check it out and see what they're referring to, because if it's at the end of the book, I am not going to be paging back and forth from where I'm reading to the back of the book and back again every time I see them. So I'm missing out on some of the content that the author really wants me to have because the way they've physically laid out the book. Also, most of the reading I do with the books I talk about here, and almost all my nonfiction books I read, I've done it while at work or at the laundromat. And if I'm at work, I don't have a lot of time. I have a 10-minute break and a 25-minute break. And so I want to read. I don't want to spend all my time flipping. Not to mention, if I'm eating lunch at the same time, I only have one hand. It is really convenient to put my food down, flip back to look at a note, and then go back again. Very annoying. But that's neither here nor there. Here and here or there. If you like names, this is a decent book. I recommend it. I am not going to be adding it to my permanent collection. I have far too many books already, and I try to be very picky about which books I put into my collection, and I try to edit my bookshelves on a regular basis, going through them, picking out things that I decide that I no longer need, and I realize that I'm never going to reread. I'm not going to loan them, and I'm not going to make references to them, so they get donated to either friends or to local charities. And this book will be donated, just because I just don't need it. If I need to look up other books on names, I can do research and get ones that'll go deeper into specific topics about names than this book did. But overall, it wasn't a bad read. If you like names, give it a go.